Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. Sorry I've been away for a few days or a week or so, just doing things and with family and bits and bobs. But I am back today and the reading is based on the Day of the Dead. We don't do it in the UK, we don't make much of a fuss about it and don't think many people know about it, but your reading is How to Resurrect Your Love Life. You've got number 1, good choices. Number 2, which is the Death card. And number 3, Madame Lulu. So, Hairy Bat, Death card, or Madame Lulu are your choices today. Okay, let's get going. Hi there, pile number 1. I'm going to restart yours because people kept coming in the middle of it, so I'm going to start right from the very beginning, which should be good for you because I've got it in my mind a little bit more. So how can you resurrect your love life? You've come across as Jupiter, and Jupiter is big thinking. It's the colonel, it's the major in the army that has goals that reach, they know what they want out of the fucking hell. Hi there, pile number 1. I'm going to restart your pile because people kept coming in, so it may be better for you because I've looked at the cards beforehand. So let's go. You're coming across initially as Jupiter. So how to resurrect your love life. There is something inside you that is larger than life. There is something inside you already that's expansive and fun-loving, and it's like the puppy that tumbles through life and people just want to play with it. So you must have that personality inside you, but I have a feeling here that you have slightly, in love relationships, cut yourself back a bit. You've got the 4 of Cups here, and that's your biggest barrier to communicating. And it makes me feel that your energy is fun and big and exciting, but in love relationships, it's almost as if you may feel that you've been pushed back or pulled back a few too many times, and you've almost just taken the role of being a little bit more passive. Where you are at the moment is the 10 of Pentacles, so I don't think that actually relates to the rest of your life, because the 10 of Pentacles makes me think of somebody who feels like they've attained quite a lot in their life, that they're quite happy where they are in general. You may have a good friend group, a good family group, just you may be quite, I'm going to say stable in your job, but Jupiter's not one for stability, but you may feel that you're at the right place in your job at the moment. But I don't think in relationships I get the feeling that you're not expressing yourself as you feel that you ought to express yourself, as if you are being contained in some way, which is not part of your normal personality. Physically, you're coming here across as the Fool. So to embrace something you need to embrace physically is just to throw yourself back into situations. So physically to me means 2 things. It means if there's a situation with somebody that you have your eye on, somebody that you feel attracted to, a relationship that you feel you've been pulled out of a little bit, now is the time. I don't mean go up and ask somebody out, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying now is the time to be yourself in that relationship, to pull on this sort of expansive Jupiter energy, which is a bit devil-may-care energy, and so is the Fool. The Fool is Uranus, and both of these together in physical situations would put themselves into whatever position they need to be in. If you're somebody that you like in work and you haven't got close to, just put yourself next to them. If there's somebody that you see out that you like, or if just generally, whether you're single or there's somebody you've got your eye on or you're in a relationship, it's to be there in that situation. Don't hide at home and be yourself. Throw yourself into it. The other thing I pick up from this Fool card as well is that physically, I wonder whether, because these are quite energetic cards, whether from now until Christmas is a really good time to up your self-esteem by getting on some sort of get fit plan. Something that you may have in your mind that you want to do, and from now until Christmas, 6-week period is a perfect time to get yourself started. And there's nothing like feeling, regardless, I'm not talking about body image, I'm not talking about size, but to get outside in the fresh air, to feel that your muscles are actually holding your bones together, and just to feel strong in your body. There's nothing like it to make yourself feel more confident. So that is something that's coming out. These 2 cards are quite physical. But this speaks of you're feeling quite happy in yourself. In relationships, you feel like you're probably being something you're not. And that is being a little bit more passive than you normally are. And now's the time to physically get yourself moving. Get yourself fit. Get yourself next to somebody that you find attractive. I'm not saying ask them out or push yourself on this person, but just be yourself. Be open and expansive. Jupiter doesn't care how they come across. They're not self-conscious. Uranus is different. So these two energies smash together. You just need to start living your life and doing it in relationships rather than just thinking it's going to come to you. The Empress card here for emotionally goes very well with this Four of Cups here. It makes me feel of somebody who is a little bit reticent to put their toes into a situation. I'm not saying you've been hurt in the past. Everybody has been hurt in the past, but it's almost as if you have taken back a step back, which you don't need to do. But you may need to just give yourself a little bit of self-love before you move into these situations, and just realise that whatever you're putting across, whether it's gorgeous or revolting or somewhere in between, as we all are, whether you accept yourself physically or not, I think with you now it's just time to get moving regardless. Just accept yourself, nurture yourself for who you are at this moment in your life, which I don't think is too bad. I don't think you perceive it as being too bad. But we're always trying to get to the next goalpost. And I think with you, the most important thing here is just to throw yourself in now. Throw yourself in and have a devil-may-care attitude. Don't put yourself on the line so it's going to be extremely painful, but just get yourself into situations again. Get out of this Four of Cups energy. Throw yourselves into things, but do it with a measure of self-love, as in awareness that you know who you are and that you're going to get accepted or not accepted, but you know that deep down inside yourself that you accept yourself. Right, now these next few cards are quite interesting altogether. You've got the Four for what do you need to embrace emotionally. So the Seven of Pentacles, actually you've got the Four, you've got the Seven of Pentacles here. What you need to embrace emotionally with the Jupiter card here and with this little frog here with its tongue, that's very northern there, with this tongue sticking and grabbing the fly, makes me feel the eye on the prize type of feeling. So emotionally, this may with your Empress card here, I wonder whether you have pulled back actually through some past hurts and now you're learning to love who you are and accept who you are regardless of whether that other person accepted you or not, even if it's not about that other person. And I think what this card is asking you to do is to realise your long-term goals. With Jupiter here, I don't know if I said earlier, Jupiter is the card of long-term goals. They can be spiritual, there's like long-distance travel. It's the colonel, it's a sergeant major in the forces who knows how to make things work on a large scale. It's not somebody who's making notes on what to have for tea. It's somebody who's basically getting the army together and knowing what to do in a battle. So I have the feeling here that this pile here, as it's turning out here, is already asking you to throw yourself back into life, but without an immediate result. With the thought of who you want to be in a year's time, 3 months' time, and who you want to be with and how they're going to expand your life. But when you're asking that, you need to make those changes in yourself first until you're on the right level to meet that person. Because next to this card here is the spiritual card, and you've got the karmic soul card here. So with your Jupiter here and with your Seven Pentacles and the karmic soul tribe here, Jupiter is asking you to stand up, to get out of bed and to realise who you are, and then set your aim. And it doesn't have to be a particular person, but if it's a love reading, then I would say set your aim for who you want to be with, and then you make yourself that person. all the bits that you have found attractive in somebody else, all those bits that you have, even if it's somebody on TV, it doesn't have to be a man or a woman or some other partner that you found attractive. You make yourself those bits that you find attractive. And that's what the Empress card here is. Emotionally, it's almost like a healing card to me. And you've pulled back from life. Physically, you need to just throw yourself back into life. But with these soul cards here and this long-term feel here, it makes me feel that you don't need to throw yourself back into life with a particular situation, but with a long-term goal of what type of person you want to aim up with. And then with the soul tribe here, you're not going to meet that person unless you are that person. If you know what I mean. If you want somebody who's, I'm going to make this up, if you want somebody who is outgoing, doesn't have any hang-ups, I'm going to take this card here, who's sporty. Of course, couples get together with complete opposites, but on some level, some energetic level, you have to make yourself match that. You know, you have to be prepared to be outgoing if need be. Or is it going to... There are always discrepancies in relationships, but there's some energetic level that you need to be on the same vibration as that person. And these cards scream that to me, because Jupiter, higher mind, Seven of Pentacles here is working towards something that you want. With this card in particular, it's having your eye on the prize. The soul tribe here is there is somebody out there who matches you on the level you are at now. But if you have your eye in the future and you want the best out of your life, then you need to raise your vibration by nurturing yourself and just be proud of yourself and get yourself fit, get yourself healthy. I don't know if you are already, but this card is get yourself fit, throw yourself into something physically, because it's a physical card, and literally do that. Put yourself into situations where that person will be, whether it's somebody you know or not. Does this make sense? I don't know. Right then. Right. Also, this speaks to me because this is your karmic ties and past lives card, and you've got the King of Cups. If you're not with somebody, with this bird here, with the eye in the middle of his head, you need to... See, this speaks to me of somebody, if you know this person already, I would say it's time to start meditating and connecting with this person, because you've got this soul tribe card next to it. If you wake up at 4 a.m, and you're thinking about this person, perhaps just sit up in bed and try and think about that person and make some contact with them. But just thinking your best possible thoughts, and just, this sounds really silly, doesn't it? I'm not explaining myself well here. What I'm trying to say is, I think if there's somebody that you have in mind, and with this card here with the inner eye, there must be some way that you can contact this person on a different level that you're not aware of. If you're not into meditation, if you are into meditation, you're probably already aware of this. But if you're not with them, don't despair that you're not with them, because there are ways that you contact people even before you meet them, even before you know them. And I think this card here is very strong with the soul tribe. If this person that you have in mind, or how to get this person into your life, is so these cards, why I've gone really quiet, is these cards mean quite a lot to me. Because I do think that with love relationships, they teach us such big lessons, because the connection is so strong and it makes us grow. And I think you've got the soul tribe card and you've got the King of Cups card here. I think that there may be somebody that you already have a psychic link with, and that this person may already know it. It's one of those cards when you see each other, you know, and you look into that person's eyes, it's almost painful, because you're very similar already. And what we were talking about earlier with the cards of raising your vibration, so you meet that person. So these cards here make me think that you two may already know each other, or you may already know who I'm talking about. And then how things look like from their perspective. You've got the Five of Pentacles here. This is all coming together. You've got the Five of Pentacles here, and I think this person either doesn't think that you like them, or doesn't think that you're connected in the way that you should be connected to them. Because the Five of Pentacles is the ponies that are left out to starve, and they're almost as if they're shut out of a situation. They haven't got warmth. You know, they can feel as if there's some sort of light there, but they're shut out, they're cold, and they're on the moor. I think if you have somebody in mind, what this person wants is communication, and they want it to happen fast. And right, okay, what this pack is asking you to do, sorry, this is real convoluted, I just go through bit by bit and it all starts coming together. What this person, how to resurrect your love life. If there is somebody that you have in mind, the best thing that you can do is to expand yourself, be confident, and now start putting yourselves into situations. Because if there's somebody around that's waiting for you that you should have a connection with, or do already have a connection with, it's time to communicate. You're feeling quite secure in yourself, but I think you've lost a little bit of energy when it comes to love relationships. I wonder whether you've had some time nurturing yourself, and to me these cards at the bottom are very, very spiritual cards. It's the waiting and it's the knowing that you're connected is the bit that pulls this pile together. You've got cards for almost knowing what's going on in each other's minds, you've got cards for waiting, and you've got cards for somebody being the same vibration as you but feeling shut out. And what you need to do is I'm being really careful here saying contact this person, because I don't think anybody should tell you that through cards, but you need to put yourself into a situation where you know you're as good as that person and you're prepared to be around this person and be yourself without pulling back. And over here, this is supposed to be a sexual pile over here, which is snuck in the corner, and you've got two kings in this pile. So it's time that you realise who you are and that you can be the boss of yourself. My kids say nobody's the boss of me. Just come across as the big person that you are, and this person will be gravitated to you. But with this Soul Tribe card here, this Seven of Pentacles card here, your person isn't going to come to you and be with you unless you're confident who you are. And because I think even if you're not with this person already, there's a real strong karmic spiritual connection, and I wonder whether you dream of this person. This is the type of person who's going to come into your life, who is already there, and you look into their eyes and you know there's a connection there. Or you walk into the room or you see them and you're drawn to them immediately. That sort of deja vu feeling. And this person, if you're not with this person already, these cards with the Eight of Wands here, with the King of Cups here, speak to me of somebody who's really trying to make contact with you. I still don't think your relationship, or whether it's somebody you have in mind already or not, is going to be totally plain sailing. I think this card here is like lessons that you both need to learn to get together. And I don't think it's going to be that easy to get there. There's going to be bits of plain sailing and bits of thinking it's overwhelming you and bits of thinking that you're never going to get close to this person. But I think it's time now for contact to be made. I think it's time to communicate. It's time to put yourself into situations. It's time to show up as the person, the really... I wonder if you've done a lot of work in yourself, and I've said that in other piles, and I wonder whether this is now the time to start moving. Because Jupiter does not want to sit and wait. It's not somebody who sits at home and paints their nails. It's somebody who gets out there and throws themselves into life. And I think the time is right for you. This is a really nice pile. I don't know if I've expressed it really well, but there's a real strong spiritual connection. There's waiting for the right person, there's working on yourself, there's nurturing yourself, and there's the timing is right. You've pulled back in life, but with the Eight of Wands here and the Fool here, it's time to get stuck back in and just enjoy yourself. Regardless of the outcome, just know, a lot of times somebody like Karmic Soul Tribe, you're here to learn lessons, and it's not always plain sailing, it's not always skipping down the aisle hand in hand. There are lessons in the way that you need to learn, and you will both need to learn. It could be painful for both of you, because I think it's going to be a mixture of plain sailing and learning lessons, this pile. Right, I'm going to answer your question now. How to resurrect your love life. You need to get your mojo back in terms of relationships and how you put yourself out. It gives me a feeling of somebody who's retracted a little bit through not just lost that oomph. Jupiter, this is you. You can't lose your oomph because everybody looks at you for oomph. You are the person that puts the fun back into life. You are the person that gives life meaning because you are somebody who is expansive in your thoughts and the energy that you give out. I think generally in life you're quite content. Now physically it's time to move yourself. Get yourself on that fitness regime. Get yourself in front of that person that you find attractive. If there's somebody you're tiptoeing around because you don't think it's time to make contact, then make contact, but don't make it needy contact. Make it contact because you are just you and you're expanding yourself and giving yourself out. Emotionally be kind on yourself. Anything that's happened in the past that you feel as if you've made a fool of yourself, or you feel it's not worked out correctly and it's hurt, it's time to let that go. It's time to be kind to yourself and know that this person, if you've met them or not, if you know who they are or not, will be proud of the way that you've got up each time. I think this pie is really strong psychic link, so pay attention to your dreams and give yourself a long-term goal. This person that you want to be with, think who if you met them now or you know them now, where do you want to be with them in a year's time? Where do you want to be within 3 months' time, 5 years' time? Because this speaks to me of somebody where the connection is strong. And whatever you do together, when you leave each other, if you separate or if you stay together, you're going to be bigger people by the end of it because that's where you've come together. But at the moment, if you know this person already, they feel that you don't find them attractive or they're shut out of your life and they're as ready, the time is right, they're ready to connect. They're ready to connect. I'm not saying because it's a general reading, throw yourself in and ask this person to marry you tomorrow. It's just basically make contact, be yourself, get yourself out there, have fun, get stuck in life again. Right, okay. I don't think your relationship will be all... The relationship that's coming towards you or that you have on your mind is not going to be plain sailing. But with this Soul Tribe card here, to me, people talk about twin flames. Twin flames to me are somebody that you have a contract with before you manifest in this life in some way, and then you're brought together. But you're brought together. There's no point in being totally easy because you're not going to grow. So there will be a mixture of connection, strong connection, of love, everything's right, but you're still going to jar each other to make yourself grow. Okay, so that's how you need to resurrect your love life. Pile number 1. There's a really strong need to be aware of who you are in your kingly energy, male or female. You need to boss up. I made that up. I don't know if that's actually a term. And own who you are. Get your life back on track with fun and excitement, and get out there and do things. But do it with a bit of self-love, because if you've been knocked in the past very lightly with these 2 cards, forget about it. Forget about it. Just wipe that slate clean, move on, and know that happens to everybody, and communicate and throw yourself in. If there's somebody you feel a strong bond with, that's meant to be there, and this person's going to be with you to make you even more of the king or queen that you are. But I think this person's feeling as left out as you are. And it's not going to be plain sailing. I'm going to finish there because I'm repeating myself, but this is a really nice pile. To me, I love these cards when they come together with the karmic soul tribe and the waiting and the watching and the King of Cups here with the third eye. To me, that's the kind of thing I live for. You know, when you just meet somebody and you feel that they're right and it's got that really bizarre feel about it. You know, this whole pile has that feeling of that, which I live for that. Right, pile number 1. I hope that makes sense. So you need to get out there and resurrect your own love life yourself, because you've got 2 kings and you've got a lot of energy, and it's really good, expansive energy. So good luck to you on that one. Right then, pile number 2. I will have to go through the cards bit by bit for them all to make sense, but as I'm doing them, I pick up the thoughts that you are... Okay, sorry, just realised the camera stopped. I hope it hasn't cut out too much. I was just saying, if I don't repeat myself, that this pile has a feeling of you feeling like you've been through the mill, or going through the mill, and the person that you may have your eye on, or the person that you may have your eye on may not be aware. If you haven't got your eye on anybody, you're just almost crucifying yourself with regards to relationships. I know that sounds quite severe, but let me just go through it and I'll explain. You've got the Saturn card here, and it's somebody who feels like they're not worthy sometimes in relationships, feels like they're unlovable. This is really harsh, I know, but I don't actually mean it. It will get better in relationships. That sometimes they just feel like they're not... This may be temporary. You may not have any Saturn in your chart. It may just be something you're going through temporarily. It's just that feeling of not being as lovable as you think that you should be. I'm going to leave that there. Don't switch off straight away because it sounds revolting, because it does get better. But the energy makes me feel like somebody who's going through a shift, and that shift is going from a feeling with you of feeling like you're not dream girl, you're not dream boy, but that is going to change, and it's going to be big. Your pile compared to pile 1 is the huge resurrection pile. So these changes are going to be massive for you. The situation from where you stand is complicated because you're coming across a Saturn, and that is always in love relationships, is feelings of not being good enough. But the Ten of Cups, I think in everyday life, I think that you're doing quite well, and that you just feel good enough in apart from love relationships, which is bizarre, because you think that your family might be very close to you. Ten of Cups is like family. It's emotionally fulfilled. It's feeling like you have everything around you like it should be, and everything just feels good. It's attainment, and it's emotional attainment. So I think that you probably yourself are quite content. You probably come across as being quite positive, probably quite open and quite altogether. But there's something, the Saturn here, it makes me think it's something niggling at you that makes you feel that you don't fit in somewhere, or that you're not quite good enough. And because this is a love spread, it makes me think of something emotionally to do with relationships, that you feel like you've been pushed out, that you're out in the cold, or that you're not quite worthy. I'll give you a couple of scenarios. It's somebody who may not be particularly at home in their body. Somebody who feels like their figure is never quite good enough, that they do sport, they do this, they do that, but they never feel as if they're quite there, because Saturn never quite gets to where it wants to be, because it's internal. You can push and do what you want as much as you want, but there's always that feeling of never really fitting in. You may work hard, but you may not feel as if you've got there in your work. It's just they never stop. There's just no satisfaction with Saturn. It's quite sweet in a way, because it's very Virgo. Never how hard they work and how much effort they put in, they feel they actually get there. And I'm putting this in relation to your relationships. So you're coming across the Ten of Cups. So as a person, you're content and you're all there. And you're probably one of those smooth people that people are drawn to and attracted to, you know, who are just really attractive and people really fall for. But there's something inside yourself that is a little bit, and this sounds so cruel, but lacking. But I'm just saying you feel it's lacking, but nobody else does. I'm trying to think of another situation. Right, okay, I'm going to carry on. I was trying to think of another situation, and I know I'm trying to think of it so that you actually know from this card here, the Ten of Cups, is that you are coming across as a beautiful person who has everything. But also with the Saturn here, you're hard on yourself. You just don't feel, you feel there's something missing. Okay, this was the second scenario I was thinking of. Let's just say that you're attracted to somebody who's married. And it makes me feel that somebody, regardless of how attractive you are and how, you know, people probably fall for you, or you're just generally quite content in yourself, you may be doing something like looking at that partner's, you're the person that you like, looking at their partner on YouTube, not YouTube, on the internet or something. It just gives me that feeling of it's almost like self-sabotaging in some way. And it may be with the Ten of Pentacles not part of your personality, but love relationships may have made you feel a little bit shoved out. I don't know. Let's keep going and find out. Those are just scenarios. Right, the biggest barrier, and this is probably related to how you communicate, is the Five of Wands. So once again, it makes me feel that relationships to you are almost a battleground or a conflict, or in some way the conversations may have been a little bit spiky. You may have come away feeling a little bit hurt, or with this feeling of Saturn here, whether you've given a little bit out because you feel vulnerable and you feel hurt, and you may have said things to somebody that you have in your mind that may have hurt them. Do you know what it's making me think of here? It makes me think of a certain magical elf who was complimented once when they were out, or they were out. Right, let me change it to somebody else. Let's pretend you're out and you feel good in yourself. You've got the Ten of Cups. You feel like you look good. You just feel generally good. And somebody comes up to you out of the blue and compliments you, and it almost throws you back, and it makes you feel awkward. So the way that you communicate, I think that you need to be aware that sometimes if you don't feel self-worth in yourself in terms of relationships, or how you look, doesn't mean other people see that in you. And you need to be kind on yourself, and in doing that, you're going to be kind on the other person. If somebody compliments you or somebody's attracted to you, you probably, with this card here, need to learn how to accept that and to do the, thank you, but actually mean it. Because if people see that in you, they see that in you, just because you may not feel it at that particular moment. Ten of Cups, I think that you are somebody who's quite confident and easygoing in everyday life, but with Saturn and the Five of Wands here, I wonder whether the way that you communicate comes across a little bit different, whether you're a little bit defensive. Also with the Shaman card here, I wonder whether you're quite aware of that already. And with the Shaman card, they take natural, it's almost like an alchemist card to me. It's somebody who takes natural products, natural circumstances, and changes them themselves, resurrects them themselves. So this quality in you that you have, you need to almost put into your relationships. And it's calling on you to do it physically, because this is the card for what you need to embrace physically. So there's something that you could be doing every day to bring this energy that is in yourself out into your relationships. If you're feeling shut out in relationships, if you're feeling jealous, or if you're feeling that something's not quite right, something is quite competitive in some way, almost as if you're playing off somebody, or you're in a group and you don't feel like you're the most attractive one, it's time to just do something about it. You could meditate, you could treat yourself to some, just something that makes you feel good, physical exercise, new clothes, just something that makes you feel more yourself in terms of your attractiveness and in relationships. Because this shaman card here with the title of the reading makes me feel that the time is right for you to actually do something about this, rather than just maybe knowing that you can sometimes be a little bit spiky if somebody compliments you, or just feel like you're not as worthy as you should be, because that isn't part of you. That is something that somebody or some situation that you probably picked up, probably from being really young, has made. It's a little key that's fit into your notch, and you've accepted it. But if you're going to resurrect yourself, you need to just throw that aside now. It doesn't serve you any purpose whatsoever. Yeah, you have got the resurrecting pile here. Emotionally, you've got the death card. And what we've just said earlier, this is really strong, that you need to throw everything up into the air. You have got, I think that you have got it in you to do this without people noticing. Because if you've got the Ten of Cups, from the situation from where you stand, I think that you are quite content with yourself as a whole. But with your emotions and relationships, it's as if it needs a huge overhaul. And your self-worth, Saturn to me just makes me think of self-worth. You possibly could be somebody who's putting all the energy in. And now it's time to stop that. You could be somebody who doesn't feel that you're quite good enough for something, and now it's time to stop that. You've got to do this by meditating, by putting yourself into situations that feel awkward, and just pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, and knowing that you are good enough in any situation, regardless of just relationships. And it needs to be a big change. There's something been ticking along in your life that you've accepted that you don't need to. Emotionally, I don't know what it is, because everybody's going to be so different, but this is a huge, powerful pile of you having to make that shift. And I don't know what that shift is. I've got clues from the cards here of being quite spiky and defensive because of self-worth. But I don't get generally that's your feeling, so I can only push it back onto its relationships. But the shaman card and the death card here is time for you to shift everything. It's a real overhaul even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, what you need to embrace, how you need to do this, these cards are happening at the bottom. So your 5th card here. Okay, these cards are all the same here. I've got, and each placement has a different meaning to me, but to be honest, I'm just going to read these cards together. You need to have a long-term aim and a long-term goal. The 7 of Pentacles here is working towards something and having an aim. The 7 of Wands here is, once again, it's the beaver, he's making his dam. He knows where he wants to go, he's prepared to put the effort in. And the Tower of Wands here is you need to make you've got death here and the Tower, a huge overhaul. Basically, this pile is quite rude. It's saying resurrect yourself to me, as in to you. It's time to resurrect yourself. And if you've got a partner or somebody in mind, you've come to this reading looking for a relationship read on how somebody sees you and what you need to change. Now, your person, and I've got this all the way through, it's got the 9 of Pentacles. So there's somebody that you may have in mind, or the person that may be coming into your life, or just somebody that you're thinking of or in a relationship with. And these cards make me think that this person thinks you're perfect already. And the angst is actually coming from inside you, feeling you're not quite there yet. Or there's somebody that you're looking at a past relationship, perhaps they got on better with them, or perhaps, if I had a bigger bottom, bigger boobs, bigger this, bigger cut, I don't know, it's just something makes me feel that you feel, and you're the only person that feels this, that you're not quite there yet. This is a really strong pile. You've got to I think that you feel this already. you've got to start moving forward in practical steps. It's okay to talk about things and how to make change situations, but unless you know how to do that in smaller steps, it just basically it's fluff, isn't it, that goes out of your head. But I just get the general feeling that if you've got your eye on somebody, or you're not in a relationship, that whoever you're going to meet next, or whether there's somebody in your mind, that this person accepts you for who you are, or will accept you for who you are, but it's you that's quite hard on yourself. And the overhaul that you need to make for any relationship, whether it's future or present, or is to just love yourself. And I'm not saying this because I feel that you don't love yourself. I'm just saying that this is a time for an overhaul for you. And it could be just in a way that you need to write down exactly in relationships what you would want in somebody. Did I say this in Power 1? I don't know. What you want in somebody. 3 things that you would find really attractive in a man or a woman, or just any partner. And then you need to be those 3 things. I said this in the last pile. But the last pile is more gentle in the way that this is transformed. Either that you will transform into basically finding somebody or being with that person who is the same as you. Yours is more a more drastic pile, that the situation is almost coming to a point where if you don't make that change, it's going to be made for you. So there's about practical steps you need to realise who you are. And if somebody's being nice to you, if somebody's complimenting you, or you've attracted that person that you're attracted to, don't push them away. This might be the time that they need to come a bit closer. Just to protect yourself, this is not the time to protect yourself to that degree. This is the time to open up and have an aim and be the person you want to be, to meet that person along your lifeline, wherever it is now, next month, 2 years' time, to meet that person, stand up on your own and say, this is me, you match me. And your end cards, basically, what is coming is you really in charge of yourself. The Magician is that, I always think Uranus, but it's Mercury. It's somebody who has every faculty that they own and they're in charge of it. The way that they speak, the way that they come across, the way, just everything, just communication especially. But it's somebody who has everything up their sleeve and knows how to make it work for them. So when you're with people, you know who you are, and you're aware of yourself, and you have that confidence and that awareness and that beauty and that giving that feels as if it can give out without being drained, and it feels that it's there and it's present in a relationship, and just, I don't know, it's just like a wise feeling of somebody who's in charge of themselves rather than looking at somebody else in a relationship to see what they can get from somebody. It's what they're going to give to somebody. And the Page of Swords, to me, with the Magician, is communication seems to be really important. The way that you communicate. And with the 5 of Wands here, which was in your biggest barrier for communication, you need to possibly be able to accept compliments, to know, I wonder if you're quite spiky in the way that you talk. I wonder if somebody complimented you, whether you would say, oh no, don't be silly, that sort of thing. It makes me think of somebody like that, or somebody who possibly could be quite terse in the way that they communicate. It could be somebody who's quite funny. You could be one of those people who laugh and joke a lot, and when it comes to love relationships, you wonder if you need to pull that back a little bit. But the 8 of Pentacles here goes really well with the 7 of Pentacles and 7 of Wands, because we were talking about down here that whoever, to resurrect yourself and be who you want to be, to get the best out of your life, it's almost as if you've started the work, and then the 8 of Pentacles, as if you almost got your goal. You've worked the web here, you've worked on it, you've got where you want to go, and you're in charge of yourself, and your communication is spot on. Communication comes out quite strong here, so I don't know whether you've got a lot of Mercury in you, or whether you just, that you're actually, whether you communicate for a living, or whether it's just something that you need to work on. Right, so pile number 2. How to resurrect your love life. I think it's coming to you anyway. I think this resurrection is well on its way. You probably even know what I'm talking about. You're probably somebody who's quite content in themselves and attracts people very easily, because you're probably one of those people really attractive. But there's something underlying, I feel, that you feel with regards to relationships, and I'm thinking sexual relationships, love relationships, that you almost a little bit push people back a tiny bit, and I think you use your words to do it, possibly. But I also think as well that you're aware of this, and there's a feeling of already working on this, because I think that if you aren't working on letting people get closer to you, that it's going to hit you. Something's going to happen in your life that's going to feel quite, oh my God, I'm going to retract this. Something's going to happen in your life that's going to make you fully aware of the changes that you need to make. But because you've got these cards here working towards it, it's not going to be the Death and the Tower together. It's going to be you almost there and saying, it's like checking your tyres and changing your tyres on a motorway before they explode. You've checked your tyres, so there's going to be no explosion, but there may still be that incident where you brake and you think, God, I'm glad I checked my bloody tyres. And that's the feeling I get from you here. That feeling of, God, I'm glad I worked on myself. And your end result is going to be you really in charge of yourself. In the way that you speak, the way that you come across, the way that you communicate, which is quite important here. And then the end result is almost like the gold at the end of the rainbow. To me, this pile speaks to somebody who's really strong and almost been pushed into a situation that in relationships you need to know your self-worth and how beautiful you really are, and it's coming to you anyway. And you've been working on it anyway. So whatever was going to possibly, if you weren't so self-aware, which I think you are, with these working towards cards here, and the Shaman card and the end card being the Eight of Pentacles, it could have been a hard lesson, a hard knock. But the people around you don't see you as hard as you see yourself. It's like everybody around finds you beautiful, finds you attractive. You know, you do gravitate. People do gravitate towards you. I think you give off this image of being really sort of in control and being aware of yourself. But I think, to be honest, with Saturn here, that you've worked so hard on yourself that you are actually too hard on yourself. And you've done the work, everything's rolling around nicely, you know, you're ready to accept relationships and be loved, but now you need to actually take the Saturn away a little bit and just accept it and just be who you are. Right, pile number 2. So how to resurrect your love life. I don't even need to tell you, because I think you're already doing it. There's one thing I could tell you is don't be so hard on yourself, because you've been doing all the work up until now. I would say don't concentrate on anybody but yourself. If there's something that you haven't quite got hold of, some relationship you haven't, I'm going to finish now. I'm going to finish because I'm rambling. But if there's some relationship you haven't got a hold of, somebody you find attractive that might not have reciprocated, somebody who's already in a relationship, or you don't feel that you have anybody around you that you're attracted to, this pile makes me think of be kind to yourself. You've done all the work, everything's moving the way it should be, just relax with it. Because you've been wiser for having that time to yourself, you've been wiser for seeing the situation with somebody else and actually viewing it from a distance and not being able to get close to that person. That sort of feel. Right, pile number 2, I am going to stop there. I don't know if that made any sense to you whatsoever, but it's really strong pile. A mixture of knowing who you are and that you measure up already, but still the work you've done is almost, it makes me feel like it's almost finished. Right, thank you, pile number 2. Hi there, pile number 3. Right, you've got quite a nice pile here. Pile number 1 and pile number 2. I suppose the title's quite hard anyway, but they were a little bit harsher. So, how to resurrect your love life. You're coming across here as Lilith. So, Lilith to me is somebody, especially if you're female, who's in charge of themselves, who knows what they want, knows how to get it, and is not afraid to be pushed out of society or in the cold with regards to getting what they want. You've got Justice here as well, so the combination almost balances itself out. So Lilith is quite sort of forthright and forceful. Justice here is somebody who is quite balanced in the way they do things. So you're getting what you want, but you're taking other people's feelings and thoughts into account as well. So the situation from your perspective, your love life, is balanced. The way that you approach your love life is balanced, whether you've got somebody or not. You know what you want, and you're prepared to put the effort in to get it, and you're not really that bothered if you trample over a few toes. But Justice here makes me think that you possibly could be a little bit more aware of the toes that you're trampling on. You're still going to do it though anyway, but you might be more aware of not hurting people. Quite focused. Gentle and focused is probably what I'm thinking here with you. The biggest barrier to you in a relationship is the Star. Now, the Star is a beautiful card. I can't really think of anything negative with it. So, but to me, if this is going to be the barrier card here, it could be distance. It could be that you can't actually get close to somebody as much as you'd like to. It could be that you communicate online, or there's distance, physical distance between you and somebody else. If it's not that, if you're single and you don't have anybody in mind, it could be a huge lot of fantasizing. What's wrong with that? But that gives me the feeling that you are somebody who's a mixture of being quite gentle but focused. And if you're not in a relationship and you don't have anybody in mind, you could be doing a lot of thinking about it and wanting it and wishing, but it's not really there as yet. Or if you have somebody in mind, you maybe not be able to quite grasp them as close to you as you might want to. You could also be in a position where you're either moving away. You may have turned your back on somebody, a relationship, and be moving away from them. This gives me the impression, I had this card once for reading, and it was really telling because it was somebody who, because of the eggs with this bird here, was in a physical situation where they'd removed their family from a relationship that had broken down. And this gives me a similar sort of feeling. It doesn't have to be a family, but it's almost like a retreat to safety feeling. It could be actually physically a retreat to safety, as in moving house, moving away from somebody until you feel more connected in yourself, or more emotionally grounded. Or it could be just a situation of pulling yourself out of the love game, being a little bit retreated from it, even though with Lilith here, Lilith is a really strong card. If you want something, you'll go for it, but I wonder whether you're just having a bit of time out at the moment. Okay. Emotionally, I think, this pile makes me think of somebody who's retreated a little bit in relationships. Whether they're in one or not, they're having time out, they've pulled themselves out. So this is just giving me an impression of where you are at the moment. Then we'll get on to how to bring the best out of your love life and resurrect it, if that's what you want. Because to me, if this is a resurrection pile, you've buried yourself. You've buried yourself in, I'm going to say coffin, but I'm only saying that because it's Day of the Dead. It's as if you've poured out. Right, the reason I think that you have pulled out is I think that you feel the situation in your love life is repetitive. I think you think the situation has been repeated many times before, and you've almost smelt it coming, and it's here, and it's like, I've done this before. You know, like arguments that go over and over again, or the same person that keeps turning up into your life with the same bits that you don't really want. You know, it's that attracting the same person, being the same situation, the same conversations. And I think at the moment it's almost as if you've thought, actually, this has happened before. I don't really want this again. I'm prepared to make the changes in myself with the star card here to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Right. Okay, this is why I think this power is quite nice, because you have here what you need to embrace spiritually. You've got the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is something that, or somebody that, in a spiritual sense, gets their oomph back in life. There's somebody, I'll show you the card here, it's somebody who is enthusiastic, competitive, free-flowing, excited about life, warm and expansive, and this is what's coming to you. So this is how you are going to resurrect yourself. You've got that Lilith pile here, and that Lilith card has got guts. And this pile here is almost as if you're weighing up between being loved and showing your guts. And the star card here makes me think of the distance and movement away from either the idea of relationships or particular relationships where you're resting, because you're fed up of everything being the same over and over and over again. You're looking for a bit of excitement, but this card here is telling me that you are going to be that excitement. Okay. Sorry, I'm going quite I'm actually counting the cards to see which one has a different meaning for me. I think the major reason, there's a couple actually, why I thought this pile was one of the nicer piles, the easier piles, is because it's almost resurrecting itself. You've got the card of judgment here as well for karmic ties and past lives. There's somebody either in your life or coming into your life that you're going to feel, or you feel a really strong bond with. I'm not going to say it's easy, because it's almost as if you're coming out of cold water and the awareness hits you in the head. But how you're going to actually make the best of this relationship is by you being exactly who you are, by being adventurous and warm and open and fun-loving. It's almost as if you learn to balance the Lilith, learn to balance the Justice, and Justice is all about balance, and Lilith can sometimes go to extremes because in some sort of story that you have in your head, you may have been scorned in some way. Almost it's like the Five of Pentacles card, where you feel like you're out in the cold, and so that might be something that's always digging away in your thoughts, like I'm trying to give an example here, like you're with somebody and you're always thinking about their past relationship. But I think that energy could be with you, with everybody though, isn't it? There's always got a little jealous tinge to them, as if they feel they're going to be left out of a situation. But with you, it's almost as if there's a movement away from that, and I wonder whether somebody particularly is going to help you with that, whether somebody coming into your life or somebody you know, that is where the situation is going to grow and where you're going to be able to be more of yourself here. Right, let me just go on to... From your perspective, see, these two cards are two rearing cards. So from your perspective, it's almost as if you've been lying low and now you're waiting to rear. It's like a mesmerising effect. See, I wonder whether you know of somebody in your life who's attracted to you, because you're coming out as in this karmic feel of the Judgment, which is the resurrection card for the reading, and you coming out of the cold water, and then I'll tell you why I think this is you. It's almost you're rearing up, puffing yourself up. The Knight of Wands, these people are mesmerised by you, and then this card here is how your partner sees the relationship. So I don't know whether you know this person or this person's coming into your life. It's the Ace of Cups. So this is somebody who falls for you big time. But it's as if you're coming out of a time in your life where you are ready to grab it. You're coming, the Knight of Wands here is feisty and fun and forward moving, and then the Judgment is the resurrection card, and the Knight of Swords here is mesmerising somebody. So I wonder whether you've gone through a period where you've laid low with somebody you may know or who hasn't come into your life yet, and you've almost got fed up of relationships in some way because you can't see it moving, it's going back and forward. And then all of a sudden, this person comes back into your life, or somebody new comes into your life and revitalises you, where this person's mesmerised by you and the attraction is really strong. Let me see. And the end result to this relationship or this contact or this somebody that you know already is open and honest and a truthful connection. And there's like a Jupiter feeling of your time has come at last. You're almost the top of the wheel, and it's like you've got the good luck at last. And there's an awareness that this possibly could work in an everyday sense rather than it just being the star. You've got the King of Pentacles down here. So the star here you had for your biggest barrier, and that was almost as if something you can't quite grab hold of. The star is something quite, I know the word, I can't say it. Ethereal. Yeah, that's the one. And then the end result is the King of Pentacles is something quite grounded. So all your thoughts and feelings and daydreams almost come into reality. And that, yeah, this is a really nice pile. Right, I'm going to just address your pile with the title, just to sum it up for you. So, how to resurrect your love life is to... This is what you're going to do. You're going to come out of a period of wondering and waiting and trying to balance yourself, and you're going to move into a period of your life where you don't feel as if you need to retreat into safety. You don't feel like you need to lie low anymore, and you feel like things are eventually going to get moving. Your Two of Pentacles here is going to move to the Wheel of Fortune here. So repetitive boredom, repetitive things that basically aren't getting you anywhere and you're quite aware of, to the Wheel of Fortune is like a good luck feel, like a karmic good luck. You're going to come out of this like the Knight of Wands, so you're going to come out with a revitalised passion for life. And it's almost as if you're going to be brought out of the cold water into the light. It could be somebody you meet, it could be somebody new coming into your life, it could be a resurrection of an old relationship. But this, out of the three powers, screams of somebody, or if this is a love reading, somebody coming into your life more so than the other two, that's going to be really good for you. And you almost have like a hypnotic hold on this person. This, if it's an old relationship, it could be something new, like this realization on their part could be something new. And the Ace of Cups here, it's a renewal of love, and a renewal and expansion of emotions. And the end result is honest, open, truthful connection that's grounded. Right, so I think that's it, pile number 3. I think that you are quite capable of mesmerising people, because the Justice and the Lilith card here, the Lilith card is fierce, and the Justice card is diplomatic and attractive. And that combination is somebody who is mesmerising, somebody who knows what they want and mesmerises people. Because I think you're quite charming the way you want things, and you're probably quite direct here as well. But I think it's just shifting out of a period of waiting, wondering, not quite grabbing onto it, repetitive action which isn't really interesting you, into something that's new and passionate and strong and open and honest. And it's your time. It's your time. The Wheel of Fortune here. It's your time for this luck. And it's going to be grounded and it's going to be real. It's not going to be something that you're wondering whether it's there or not. You will know when this person either is in your life or comes back into your life. Right, pile number 3. I hope that helps in some way. And good luck with that, because that's a really nice pile. Thank you for watching. Bye.